Story 1. The Stranger in the Halls. It was a dreary Friday afternoon during 8th period English class. We were all just counting down the minutes until the weekend, especially since spring break was just hours away. Our teacher, Mr. Lanning, was the laid-back type, so instead of lecturing, he pulled up a trivia game on some random website. We were laughing, joking, and barely paying attention. That's when it happened. The voice of the assistant principal, Mr. Feldman, crackled through the loudspeaker. But it wasn't his usual monotone. It was panicked. "This is not a drill. I repeat, lockdown immediately." The room fell into a silence I've never experienced before. Mr. Lanning's face went pale. He dropped the remote, killed the lights, and whispered for us to move to the back of the room. 2 minutes passed, then 5, and then the humming from the classroom's wall panel suddenly stopped. Power had been cut. That's when the tension got real. A sound echoed through the hallway, screaming. It was deep, manic. Closer and closer it came, until we could make out what he was saying. "I'll kill you all!" The banging started, lockers being slammed, fists pounding. One girl in the corner, Haley, started sobbing. Then someone else. We all huddled closer. Then he started pounding on our door. "Open up!" he shouted again and again. One of the girls screamed. My heart felt like it was going to punch through my ribs. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the pounding stopped. The screaming faded into the distance. 10 minutes later, Mr. Feldman returned to the speaker, shaky but composed. An unidentified man entered the school, assaulted a receptionist, and fled into the building. We are unsure if he was armed. This was before our school had real security. No cameras, just unlocked doors, and a hope nothing would go wrong. They never found him. That night, one of the night janitors found a closet door left slightly ajar. Inside, a sleeping man with a revolver half exposed in his jacket. By the time police arrived, he was gone. No one ever confirmed who he was, but I still think about that pounding, that voice, and where he might be now. Story 2. The Man Beyond the Fence. Our middle school splits lunch into 2 groups. 6th graders and part of the 7th go early, while the rest eat later. It was a gray October day, and I was in the first group. We were halfway through lunch when we heard 4 loud bangs outside. Thunder, maybe? That's what I thought. But kids started screaming and bolting inside. I laughed until the security guards ran in, yelling for everyone to get to the multi-use room. Kids had to toss their food and rush in, no time to ask questions. That room is massive, and the back wall is all glass. Staff ran around yanking curtains shut and standing guard by the exits. We were all crammed together, confused and buzzing with nervous chatter. My friend Aiden went up to a teacher and came back pale. "There's a guy across the street, barricaded in his house, said he's going to shoot the cops if they come near." Worse, he's a sex offender, and he's been watching kids from his window all morning. A chill ran through the room. Some kids tried to act tough. Some were visibly shaking. Aiden leaned in and whispered something else. My neighbor Lily said last Halloween he wrote in blood on his window, "If you knock, you die." We were stuck in that room for over an hour. Later, we found out he wasn't bluffing. He really had a shotgun and had threatened to shoot anyone who came near. The cops eventually talked him down. But now, every time I pass that house, I can't help but glance at the windows, wondering if he's still watching. Story 3: The Stranger in the Server Room. I was 22, fresh out of college, and as luck would have it, I landed my first full-time job back at my old high school, Willowbrook Academy. It was surreal walking those halls again, but this time as staff, not a student. I was working as a junior IT tech in the basement-level tech office. Despite its location, the space was surprisingly comfortable. The room had 2 fridges, 3 old leather sofas, high-end PCs, racks of networking gear, and icy cold AC that hummed like white noise. We even had blackout curtains covering the narrow horizontal windows that peeked out onto the lower parking lot. I shared the space with 2 coworkers, Dave and Marcus, both in their 30s. They were seasoned techies who treated me like a little brother. That day, a Thursday in early spring, they were upstairs working on a faulty smartboard in room 210. I offered to stay back and monitor the help desk line. It was slow, and I didn't mind the solitude. I had just unwrapped my sandwich from the deli across the street and started watching a video on my phone when the intercom buzzed. It wasn't the usual chime. This time, it came through the landline phone sitting on my desk. That was rare, very rare. Attention, all staff. This is Principal Guerrero. Initiate full lockdown procedures immediately. This is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Secure your classrooms and offices now. I froze, sandwich halfway to my mouth. That phrase, not a drill. I quickly got up, flipped off the lights, and locked the door. Except, wait, our door didn't lock. It was a wide entry with no actual door, just an open threshold leading to the staircase. Anyone could walk in. My heart kicked up a notch. I dimmed my monitor, turned off the overheads, and crouched behind the L-shaped workstation desk. I texted Dave and Marcus. Me, you guys okay? What's going on? No reply. I sent a second message, then a third. Still nothing. 10 minutes passed, long, dreadful minutes. My ears strained in the silence, trying to pick up sounds from above. Footsteps, screaming, gunshots? Nothing. Then, faintly, a creak. The stairwell door upstairs slowly opened. I held my breath. Footsteps, slow, deliberate. Someone was coming down. I lowered myself beneath the desk. My heart was slamming against my ribs like it wanted out. I tried not to breathe too loudly. Whoever it was had heavy boots. You could hear them land with a soft thud on every step. Closer. Thud. 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 The basement door creaked open. No voices, no call for help, just silence. And then they were in the room. I saw the shadow stretch across the carpet before I saw the figure. He stepped inside and stood still for what felt like forever. I couldn't see his face. I only saw his legs, black jeans, scuffed boots, and a tattered red flannel shirt. A black baseball cap cast his face in shadow. I held my breath. My phone, tucked in my pocket, buzzed. I flinched. Slowly, carefully, I slid it out. It was a message from Dave. Dave, Dude, this is insane. That guy with the gun, he shot Mr. Langston, wearing a red flannel and black hat. Do not come upstairs. I read it 3 times. Then I looked at the man's boots. Red flannel, black hat. He was right outside the desk I was hiding under. I curled tighter, trying not to make a sound. Every inch of my body screamed to run, but my brain screamed louder, "Don't move." Then he spoke. "Hey, it's okay. I'm just hiding too," he said calmly, too calmly. "I came to pick up my son. A teacher told me to come down here." His voice was level, friendly even. It didn't match the situation, or the blood I now noticed, dark splatters across his sleeves. Is there an exit back there?" I hesitated. My mouth opened before my brain could stop it. Yeah, I whispered. I motioned toward the back server room. He took a step closer. "Thanks." He turned to walk, but something wasn't right. None of this made sense. I found my voice again. "Wait, who's your kid?" Silence. He didn't answer, just stood there. Then, movement, fast. He lunged. I scrambled back, kicking over a rolling chair. He reached for me, his fingers grazing my hoodie. Bang! A shot rang out, deafening. Sparks flew as the bullet hit the metal desk frame. I bolted. I didn't think. I just ran, through the back server room, out the fire door, up the emergency stairs. Behind me, more footsteps, but heavier this time, slower. The hallway upstairs was chaos, sirens, flashing lights through the front doors, teachers barricading students in rooms. 2 police officers burst through the front entrance just as I reached the lobby. I turned and shouted, "He's downstairs! He has a gun!" They rushed past me. Minutes later, I heard a scuffle, then shouting, another gunshot. But this one sounded different, farther away. The man had tried to run. The officers tackled him on the lower landing. I saw it happen through the security monitors the principal was watching. He fought like a man possessed. Mr. Langston, our physics teacher, survived, but he was in the ICU for weeks. The bullet had punctured a lung. The man? His name was Carter Reed. Not a parent, not even connected to anyone at the school. Just a man with a grudge and a gun. The investigation revealed a manifesto. Carter blamed the school for expelling his younger brother a decade earlier. His brother had taken his own life 6 months later. Reed had been building his resentment ever since. What haunts me most isn't the bullet or the chase. It's the moment under that desk. The breathing. The soft, steady breathing of someone deciding whether or not you live. I haven't worked in a school since. I moved, changed jobs, and tried to forget. But even now, sometimes when I hear boots on tile or a door creak open in an empty office, I remember Willowbrook. And I remember the man in the red flannel.